What is going on, everyone, and welcome to r/EntitledParents. Now, today's first post is honestly one of the most disrespectful stories I've ever read. Entitled parents make a scene because their son isn't allowed to draw on the walls and eat Cheetos while touring Auschwitz. Get kicked out. I was simply an observer here. It was a few years ago when I went to Poland. So, I paid some money just like the others to tour Auschwitz and have a guide. At the start, said guide told the entitled family to leave their open food in their bags or put it in the trash. They listened with some obvious annoyance, saying something along the lines of, "But we want to enjoy this trip, why can't we eat?" After a bit, the son once again pulled out his food and started loudly munching while the guide was showing us and telling us the awful things that happened there. Once again, the guide had to tell the son to not eat during this, for obvious reasons to everyone except for that family. When we went into one room where the poor prisoners were kept, I saw the son pull out a Sharpie and start writing what I'm guessing is his name again and again on the walls. Once again, now obviously quite angry, the guy demands that he stops immediately or else there be severe consequences. The entitled parents step in, shouting things about them paying to be there and being allowed to have fun. Who the F goes to Auschwitz for fun? And that the guide was being rude and disrespectful. The best thing, they were kicked out, or at least that's what it looked like, because after that they mysteriously weren't there for the rest of the tour. It was a very interesting tour and I would recommend it. 10 out of 10 guide. So guys, just a quick short one to start us off today, but I simply couldn't not read this out. I mean, what the heck, that is incredible. I'm actually myself meant to be going to Poland, to Auschwitz in a couple of weeks to have a tour. Now, unfortunately, Poland has just been put on the quarantine list for the UK, so I'm not entirely sure if that's going to go ahead. But still, I just couldn't believe this when I came across it. It's incredible. Just the levels of disrespect and ignorance from that entire family. Like, do you not understand what happened at that place? Who goes to Auschwitz for fun? As OP said. Ugh, I'm just going to move on. Now moving on to our second story. Aunt tries to take my computer parts and my cousin pulls an insane power move that saves my butt. My friend and I were laughing about this, and he convinced me to post it here. For some context, it was recently my 16th birthday and my parents thought that I was old enough to build my own gaming computer. I carefully picked parts and had them laid out on my desk. My cousin was looking to upgrade her computer. She's 13. My aunt has never shown behaviour like this to us, but now I'm sure her daughter has to suffer through it all the time. Anyways, so my aunt and my cousin were visiting, among a few other family and friends, for my birthday, and my cousin and I were at my desk in my room talking about the parts, and I was showing off all the stuff I had very meticulously placed on my desk. We were in the middle of a conversation about how she wants to buy a new graphics card and some other components to make her build better when my aunt walks in. "Hey, do you guys want anything to drink?" "Oh, hey, OP, are those your new computer doohickeys? Too technical for me, I'm sure." Yeah, these are all the things that I picked out." "So, what's this one?" "Oh, that's the power supply. It's kind of like a battery pack." "Wow, OP, you kids are very smart to know all this stuff. Where's the screen?" "Oh, the monitor hasn't arrived yet. We just ordered it." My mum then said from the kitchen, "Okay everyone, dinner is ready and we're cutting cake afterwards." I'm relieved to be pulled away from the awkwardness and head to dinner, but this is where the real trouble starts. At the dinner table, my entitled aunt starts. "So, I heard OP was building a new computer. How cool. Actually, my daughter is upgrading hers, right?" My awesome cousin said, "Oh yeah, I wanted to upgrade the graphics card." My dad replied, "Interesting, so what are you looking for? Nvidia or something else?" "Mine is pretty old, so maybe something like an RTX card? I noticed OP has a 2060 Super. Something like that would be cool." "Oh, wow, so OP already has the one you want?" Yeah, sure mum, but I don't..." "Well, shipping times are slow because of COVID, so what if my daughter could take your graphics cartridge, OP, and you could order another..." Graphics cartridge. Oh my god. "And you could order another one. Your screen isn't even here. And what can you even do without a screen, you know? When it arrives, we'll pay you back for the cartridge too, for God's sake." Well, see, OP really worked hard to pick out all the parts, and there's no telling when other things will arrive. Well, it's the easiest option. Just think about it. Wait, what? Later, after dinner and cake, we go back to start figuring out how to slap all the components together. My entitled aunt walks in and starts asking for the graphics cartridge. Guys, I can't, honestly. She looks angry, but I still keep rejecting all her tries to take it. Eventually, my parents come in and try to get her to leave. Look, sis, if you want, we'll order one for you. Your daughter's birthday is also in another month, and I wouldn't mind gifting her a new graphics card. He looks pointedly at my cousin, as long as it's not too expensive. Oh, thanks, uncle. I don't mind waiting. I'm saving money, though. I could get it myself. No. I'm your older sister. I'm not leaving this house without that cartridge. You were always such a freaking miser, Dad. You were always such a freaking miser, brother. You weren't even smart enough to see the sense in my argument. Daughter, come here. Which is it? We'll grab it and leave. Come on. Then, my mad lass of a cousin points at the box, not for my graphics card, and instead to the box of the old computer mouse that I was going to throw out. My entitled aunt angrily grabs it and stomps out with my cousin in tow and gets in her car. They live in another state, and I'm sure that my cousin got heck from her mum the whole way when she found out that the graphics cartridge was in fact a computer mouse. We haven't heard from them for a day or two, but I called my amazing cousin on their house's landline phone, and she said she did get chewed out, but she doesn't know what the punishment will be yet. I'm afraid the money she's been saving will be taken away, but if this blows up and if she calls back, then I'll add an update. Anyways, thanks for reading this far. Oh, your cousin is an absolute legend, taking one for the team. I hope that she doesn't have her money taken away from her, because realistically, what your entitled aunt was trying to do there was just plain wrong. You can't just steal someone's graphics cartridge. Let me get that right, guys. I don't want to annoy this entitled aunt. You can't just steal someone's graphic cartridge. I can't even say it, it's so stupid. But yeah, honestly, if you think that a mouse is the same thing as a graphics card, then you don't deserve one anyway. I'm sorry. This entitled aunt is just stupid. Let's move on to the next story. Please don't steal my phone. I honestly didn't believe that there are these kinds of incredibly entitled people who think that stealing a phone from someone to entertain their kids is acceptable behavior. Guess you never believe in saying things till they happen to you. For a little context, I work as a security consultant for a fairly paranoid company, which is kinda understandable considering the sensitive nature of our work and the kind of client we usually have. But it leads to zero poop taken policies. Yesterday, I took a day off to deal with some of that lovely government bureaucracy. I sit in an office, a government office no less, and wait for an appointment. It's hot, it's kinda humid, the kids are forced to wait there with their cranky parents, and I'm reading and answering my email on my phone, since there isn't much else to do anyway. An entitled kid, EK, comes up to me. What you playing? I'm not playing, I'm doing my emails. I admit, it may look like I'm playing a game, since I'm not the young kind of person who is super fast at typing on a phone keyboard, a skill I really envy the youth of today for. I'm more hunt and peck style, I prefer using a desktop by far, and I need to concentrate to actually hit the right letters, so I don't notice that the entitled kid returns to his mother, who appears shortly afterwards, just as I finish my emails. Oh come on, let my son play on your phone for a while so he doesn't nag me. Sorry, Mom, this is my work phone. There ain't no games on it. There really is nothing on it that could remotely be considered fun. These things are stripped down to the bare bone must be present stuff with zero leeway when it comes to what you put on them. Yeah, normal for a work phone, I'd say. Oh, that is BS. I saw you playing. Let him play for a while. We'll be in before you so you get your precious phone back soon enough. Sorry, Mom, I'm not allowed to give my work phone to anyone. That's no lie. On my phone, some rather sensitive information is potentially accessible. It does take a few extra steps and you need to jump through a few additional access hoops, but as said before, my company is a bit paranoid when it comes to this, and we're only allowed to use our phone to access corporate information in what is considered a controlled environment. I'm, as said above, in a government building with an additional feature that will become apparent soon. It doesn't get any more controlled than that. Most of all, I'm not allowed to give my phone to anyone outside the company, and even only a select few people inside of it, and most certainly not in an unlocked and hence usable state. Fortunately, at this point, I already closed down the mail container, which needs additional unlocks to access the mail portion, as she simply snatches my phone from my hands. I was actually flabbergasted for a moment before I realized just what she just did. She has my work phone in her hands, unlocked. In short, I'm very close to not having a quiet weekend, and she is very close to having a few very uncomfortable weeks, months, or years, depending only on how creative our legal department gets. Mom, please give me back my phone this very moment. My company is very strict with phones, and unless you hand it back this very moment, I have to report this to the authorities and report a theft of my phone to my company. They will press charges. Please, Mom, please give me that phone back. No luck. She waves it off and tells me to not be a baby as she hands my phone to her son, telling me I'll get it back as soon as it's their turn to go in. It's not like we're leaving with your precious phone. Mom, for the last time. Actually, the kid pushing a button on the phone would already have required me to report it as stolen and tampered with, but I am at this point willing to assume that a child of about 7 to 8 years is not trying to steal trade secrets or steal or tamper with security reports. I have to call the police if you do not hand the phone back right now. She glowers at me and then asks in an incredibly sassy tone, "Yeah, how are you gonna call the police without your phone?" I sigh, pull out my private phone, which actually does contain a few games, and frankly, if she had asked any nicer, I would have let her son play with it. Even if he breaks it, no big deal. Dial the not quite an emergency police number and report what's going on. All the while, the entitled mum is glowering at me, very obviously not believing I'm really calling the cops for something as trivial as this. Frankly, if I didn't have to, I probably wouldn't have. If that was my private phone in her son's hands, I wouldn't have bothered. Now, since this is a government building and a police station is right inside the same building, it doesn't even take a minute until 2 policemen enter the room, which causes the entitled mum to go pale for just a moment, before acting as if it isn't her business at all. The police ask me what is going on, and I explain it to them. They ask the entitled mum, and she has the audacity to claim that it's her phone, and that I want to steal it from her. Well, that's easy to prove. Lock the phone and let's see who can unlock it, I say. She claims she forgot the code, but by then the policemen have a pretty clear picture of what's going on. I unlock the phone to show it's mine, and they ask if I want to press charges. I tell them I don't want to, but I have to now, no later, because now there's a police report about it, so I have no choice anymore. And knowing our legal department, they usually get very creative as to what they try to slap on this, which I'm currently not really regretting because as of writing this, I'm on the phone with our internal security, who is just as happy as I am to deal with this on a weekend. Now that all happened 2 months ago, so here is a little update from OP. I did not have an enjoyable weekend afterwards, as predicted. Our legal department actually did press charges, including industrial espionage. Remember, we're talking about a boy of maybe 7 years playing with my phone. In the words of one of our lawyers, and I quote, "That way the sum is high enough that the Karen needs to hire and pay for a lawyer herself." I honestly don't know what's scarier, to think that they really tacked on industrial espionage to this petty BS, or that a 50-year-old high-level corporate lawyer knows and uses the term Karen. Well, in answer to that question, I'm going to go with both. Very terrifying stuff. Now, in terms of this Karen, I gotta say, I thought she was pretty dumb at the start of the story, but then lying to the police and saying, "You know what? In the last 5 seconds, I actually forgot my code for my phone." What a coincidence that is. What a travesty that is. I mean, seriously, guys, does it get any more stupid than that? I really don't think so. What a story. I do have to say, though, quickly, that I do think it's pretty dumb that this company or government, whatever it is, think that this is industrial espionage because a 7-year-old took your phone. It's kind of a bit OTT. I get why, because you're making the Karen pay, but also it's a little bit too much in my opinion. Now moving on to the final story of today's video, entitled Neighbor Uses Driveway Without Permission. My fiance and I purchased our home a few years ago, and our neighbor introduced herself shortly after we moved in. She seemed like a nice elderly woman who appeared to have custody of her young grandson. We had no issues until her middle-aged son moved in. This guy always yelled at the little boy and just generally acted like an idiot. He drove a small, beat-up truck that leaked oil. His mother has a nice long double-car driveway and didn't want oil stains on the concrete, so she had him park in the side yard next to our house. It was right outside of our kitchen window and kind of an eyesore, but it's her property, so whatever. We assumed that her son would drive through their yard to his parking spot, but apparently that was too inconvenient. Instead, he decided to back into our driveway and through our yard to get to his spot. We were always at work when he did this, but we caught it on our camera. Our driveway is gravel and isn't in the best of shape. Her son would take off too fast and throw gravel everywhere. After a couple of days, he started to leave a rut, so my fiance went over there to ask him to stop. The mother answered the door and seemed annoyed by our request. Her son, though, did park in their driveway after this, so we assumed that was the end of it. Well, while I was at work the following Friday, I received a motion notification from one of our cameras. I check it and sure enough, I see her son using our driveway once again. After work, I passively aggressively decided to park my car at the end of our driveway. The entrance is only big enough for one car and there's a deep ditch on both sides, so I knew her son couldn't get out that way. We were planning on staying in for the weekend, so I wouldn't be moving it again until Monday morning. On Saturday, we were doing yard work out front and the son came out with his dog. He gave us a dirty look but didn't say anything. I figured he got the message. We woke up around noon on Sunday to a bunch of notifications from our doorbell camera. I pull up the videos and see the neighbor's son absolutely fuming. He rang our doorbell 5 times and stood on our porch for 20 minutes. The whole time he was throwing his hands up and muttering about needing to leave. He actually expected us to get up, go outside in the pouring rain and move my car so he could use our driveway to get out. He must have driven through his mother's yard to leave because his truck was gone. After that day, he never said anything to us and only parked in her driveway, so I guess he learned his lesson. The thing is, if he would have asked us first, we might have worked something out with him, but instead he wanted to act like an entitled butthole. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, that's actually been quite a common theme that's cropped up in a couple of today's stories. If you just ask the person to use their thing, they're more than likely going to say yes than no because, you know, the majority of people are nice and would say yes to that. So yeah, I guess in the story about using the phone and in this last story about using the driveway, just ask and they may say yes, you never know. It's better than just using their stuff without them knowing or just stealing it from them like the phone story. I mean, come on. Anyway guys, that is going to do it for this Entitled Parent story. I really tried my best to find the best Entitled Parent stories that I could for this video, and I hope you enjoyed them. Because if you didn't, then I've not really done very well here in this video, have I? If you do want more Entitled Parent stories, check out the playlist right here of all my videos in one, and also make sure you are subscribed to my channel for daily videos each and every day. See you tomorrow with a brand new one.